yesterday for the first time tried a chunky mix, which basically isn't ground up, where you still have pieces of neck, pieces of heart.
Not pieces of heart, full chicken hearts.
Full chicken hearts.
Our kitchen looked like a murder scene after Ryu had his share. A couple of months ago, you will have seen we made a video about our cat's diet, and we got a couple comments about how we should switch them to raw food because Royal Canin actually isn't such a great food. Actually, no dry food is great. So we decided to try it out, and we found a local brand that supplies raw food directly to us. So we thought we'd share our experience for the first month or so with you guys.
So after we posted our video about what we feed our cats in a day, we got a lot of comments and a lot of people telling us how raw food is so much better for cats, and it's particularly because they are something called obligate carnivores, which means that they need meat in their diet. And so we started doing the research, and one of the reasons we never switched before is actually because living in South Africa, raw food is not widely available to us yet. There are quite a few companies that do raw food for dogs now, but for cats it's still quite limited. So we had done the research before and we're kind of looking into it every now and then, but we never found a company that really appealed to us, that really seemed to put all of the knowledge of what supplements and so on needs to be included.
Yeah, because my biggest worry was always the dietary requirements that we might be missing if we just, go to the supermarket and grab whatever we find.
We had concerns about whether the company we would choose to help us supply would have all the requirements that our cats actually need, and that's why we never did the switch before. Until
I was also strongly convinced that why would vets recommend and sell dry food if it isn't, safe for pets or good for pets?
And eventually in our research we actually found a YouTube channel called the Primal Pack. And it's not a big YouTube channel or anything, but
she does a really good way of explaining and showing the research she's done.
She's from what I understand, she's a vet tech, so she is in the veterinarian industry as well, and she basically breaks it down very comprehensively on why raw food is better and why vets do recommend dry food and what all the logic is behind it. And so that was one of the reasons why I started more actively looking into raw food again, and I found a company in Cape Town, so not locally where we are, called As Nature Intended. On their website, they really break down why they did the switch for their dogs and what they include in their raw food. So they have different options for cats, different flavors. They do add the taurine, which is very important, and some added vitamins as well. So I was quite convinced that I felt very comfortable that they would be a good starting point for our cats. And so we decided that we were going to order for a couple of weeks and see how our cats do on it, whether they'll even, because they've been on dry food their entire lives, whether all the ladies will make the switch. So we started with a turkey mix, which is ground up as well, so it's easier. There's not much chewing involved. The reason I started with turkey is because I heard that chicken can be an allergen, and because we have 2 cats with skin conditions, I didn't want to start with that. So turkey seemed like a good alternative. And to our surprise, we did the switch slowly. We first added a little bit of wet food into their dry food, then we switched to wet food and raw mix, and then we switched them to raw entirely. And they all took to it really, really well. Even Maya, who is probably the pickiest of all of them, seems to be quite happy with it. To our big surprise, we even yesterday for the first time tried a chunky mix, which basically isn't ground up, where you still have pieces of neck, pieces of heart.
Not pieces of heart, full chicken hearts.
Full chicken hearts.
Our kitchen looked like a murder scene after Ryu had his share.
And she actually didn't mind doing the chewing, the work for it as well.
Yeah, so apparently that's one of the big things that people struggle with, because dry food makes your cats lazy for chewing basically, and I think that's one of our biggest worries. But yeah, to everyone's surprise, they took to it very quickly.
So basically our new routine now is we defrost, so the packets come in 500 gram packets that we order.
So these really convenient, it says almost daily, but it's too much so one packet lasts us for the day. So actually it is perfect for us.
So we defrost. So we're actually doing it in reverse. Basically, we don't defrost overnight. We defrost we defrost over the day, and then we feed once in the evening and once the next morning. And then the next day after we fed, we take out the new pack.
I do know some people change it so that the cats just get fed once a day, but I think we would have
really angry
bloodshed on our hands.
Really angry cats on our hands. They're used to 2 meals a day, and we're quite happy leaving it that way.
We just adjusted the amounts.
Yeah, so they're all the girls get 45 grams twice a day.
Well, the rule is 2% of their body weight.
2 to 3% of their body weight, depending on how active they are and what their body type is as well. So the girls are on 45 grams because they are twice a day again. So it's not 45 grams a day because they are more or less the same size. They're all quite happy in the environment, and they're not very active anymore. And then Ryu and Momo we've put on 50 grams because both of them, well, Momo is a bit of a bigger cat and Ryu is very active. So between the two we have them on 50 grams, and then occasionally because of the Primal Pack and the videos we've watched and the research we've done, we'll also add some egg yolk or...
Well, we've only actually experimented with egg yolk yet, but we are going to try mussels and fish,
oysters,
and oysters and
fish
stuff.
pieces
It's
can be
just
added.
difficult to find them here that aren't preserved in oils and so on.
So we're gonna look around and see what we can find that we can add on top of the raw food just to give them a little bit of extra variety. But there are 3 different options, so we're now rotating between the 3, which is chicken, turkey and ostrich.
Ostrich is I'm not sure that anyone outside of South Africa will find that.
What we're going to try tonight, and I assume that's what most of you will not be able to give your cats, because I'm pretty sure ostrich is a rather South African thing. It's basically our version of venison. I think you guys would get then deer or something like that as an option.
You know, ostrich is a bird. I'm not sure everyone knows that.
I'm sure everybody knows an ostrich is a bird.
Hey.
It's just a very, very big bird. So yeah, those are the 3 that we're rotating. And they've tried all 3 and they are eating all 3 without any issues. The only thing that people need to keep in mind with raw food is it involves a lot of cleaning. So we have plastic bowls at the moment. We're looking at switching that to either ceramic or stainless steel, because the bowls need to obviously be clean afterwards. You need to wash your hands. You need to wash everything that's touched the food, because obviously there's a risk of salmonella and other illnesses and bacteria that can be passed on through raw meat. So we have to be very pedantic about cleaning after feeding.
That leads us into one of the things that becomes an issue, especially in South Africa, where in summer it can become 35 degrees or so, and that is
how to keep things fresh.
Yeah, because we can't really keep it in the fridge. Well, we've been trying a couple of things, because Ryu becomes very picky with his food. As soon as it's too cold, he won't eat it. So what I've been doing is I put it in the fridge, and then before feeding them, I'll take it out and I'll pour a little bit of warm water over it just to warm it up a little bit, and that seems to have been working. He hasn't been refusing any food lately or anything.
So that's worked for us. And then the second thing that one needs to mention is that it is more expensive than dry food and wet food.
It is about double the price.
So here in South Africa, we are now, so depending on the packet, it's an average of 25 to 30 Rand a packet, which obviously might be very cheap wherever you guys are, but for South African standards, that's quite expensive for cat food. If you add it up for what you would need for a month, I think we're sitting at around 2,000 Rand, more or less.
Maybe just under.
Which for 1 month of cat food is a lot.
Yeah, with the 2 dry foods, the aging and the Siamese that we always used to have, we'd spend around 1,000 Rand a month on the cat food.
So we're paying nearly double, but if it is worth it and it does improve our cat's health and
potentially save on vet bills, which might be a big thing, and extend their lives potentially, I think it is worth it.
Yes, absolutely.
One of the things that has amazed me the most is their poops.
Yes, so one of the things that, and the Primal Pack lady actually mentions it as well, is obviously you need to keep looking out for things that are normal and things that aren't normal when you're switching. And one of the things she mentioned is that what you will notice is obviously you have to keep an eye on the poop, because you need to make sure that they're not having a bad reaction to it, so you don't want diarrhea or anything like that. And we've had quite the opposite, where because they are absorbing so much more nutrients out of their raw food, they now make the smallest little poops that ever existed in our household.
But for me the biggest thing was, so Momo used to drop some bombs that really you would fall over backwards because they would smell so bad, and now it's basically odorless. It's actually incredible. And it saves us money on litter at the end of the day as well.
Yeah, so the poops have become much smaller and much nicer to handle because they're basically scentless. They're also drinking a lot less, which is normal because the dry food only contains about 5 to 10% water, I believe.
And that's one of the biggest issues with dry food, and that's why
UTIs are common with dry food. And wet food is about 70% moisture that they're getting through their food now, which means that they obviously don't need to drink as much. So those are two of the big positives that we've seen so far.
We did today give them, because it's also one of those days again where it's 30 something degrees, we gave them some frozen gravy that we made, and Momo enjoyed it a lot, the other not so much.
So we're basically about a month in now, and we're going to give you an update in maybe 5-6 months time just to see how it's going and if we've seen any more changes, any more improvements, how the raw feeding is doing.
And also what we learn along the way. And please, if anyone else has some suggestions, please leave a comment down below. I'm going to link Primal Pack because I think her videos are really worth watching. She does the raw food for cats, dogs. I think she has a ferret as well that goes on raw food, and a hedgehog. So she really, and the way that she explains it is really
really
helpful.
Comprehensive. It's really dumb-proof, and I'm including myself in that here. If you don't have the knowledge and the science behind it, she really breaks it down for anyone to understand. We'll also link down below the food that we're using for anyone who's in South Africa who would like to give it a try. We'll link down below both the company in Cape Town and the company that provides that brand in Johannesburg.
And even for someone who just wants to have a look and learn about it, because they do offer some really useful information there as well. Any other comments, questions or anything, please leave us a comment. We love hearing from you. And remember to like the video and share it with your friends.
And remember that if we reach 5,000 subscribers, my husband will do that Q&A and we will be on camera for the first time, both of us. So let's share and get to 5,000 so that I can make him do that, please.
And go find us on Instagram, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.
Bye.